On Stockbox today, we are joined by Darren Hazelwood, who is the CEO of Panther Metals. So, hello, Darren. Welcome on.
Hi, good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me on again.
No, it's great to be talking, Darren. So you've had some news, some financing news following your acquisition news, a couple of weeks ago. So, is this the Panther on the prowl?
Well, it certainly is, Mark. It certainly is. We've announced today that we've raised an additional 300,000. But to be honest, this all happens really rather quickly. I'm always monitoring the business and adjusting developments within it according to where we're at. And during this review process with the team and the follow-up call with a broker, I decided that it's in the best interest to pull the trigger on a small raise. We've got MAG being flown at Dotted Lake. MAG in Q1 will be flown at Annaburu and Maracay. We expect to close with White Cliffs on Merolia project shortly. And we await the licenses at Big Bear. And everything was funded and is. And we could have just relaxed a touch and waited for this information to come in and then start the real planning around the capital allocation once again, which would kick on the work process. But the realities are the corporate cost base just doesn't pause as you're waiting for information. And it's so important to me that we keep sweating our assets and keep pushing them along the development curve. And that's how we're going to break out to the next level as a business.
Okay. Well, I think it's a very valid point you made there that you didn't need it for the current activities. Everything was already funded, and it's never, investors always tend to worry when a company raises money because it's like, oh no, heck, they need it now. But you've made quite clear there that you didn't need it. But what about the price that you've raised at, Darren? How do you feel about that?
10 pence is a 67% increase on our price in January, but in truth, I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I think people are now witnessing a business with not just some extremely prospective assets in great jurisdictions, but we've now got a business that's got outstanding foundations in place. And I genuinely believe we're positioned extremely well. The White Cliffs deal was announced into a gold market that was a little bit soft. The price was weakening a little bit at the time, and that certainly didn't help. But the opportunity represents a huge step forward for the business. And as I look at what's possible, what could be achieved with an injection of cash, now it really did become a very straightforward decision for me. At Dotted Lake, for instance, we've witnessed there's only been 3 very short holes ever drilled there, and additional information that will be available to us if we were to drill quite a deep hole could become a game changer for the company and the project. The greenstone belt it butts up against an intrusion at the point of our 150-meter gold mineralized trench. So we'll be drill testing the shear zone beneath the trench, and it's going to go into fresh rock, testing the shear contact between the two. And the regional geophysics shows this to be a really interesting contact area, and we'll be able to study the core. This will allow us to understand the stratigraphy in a lot more detail, and it's going to prove invaluable. And as everyone knows, drilling into a mineralized shear zone at a contact point can sometimes throw up some very interesting results. So it's done with very good reason. It really will give us a solid base there, and that wasn't in our planning. People know that we're flying MAG there, and this will help us really get to understand what's going on beneath the surface at such an important point. And then the Merolia project, I want to advance that as quickly as possible. Now, we've got the Comet World trend. We know that this trend is potentially substantial. Now, it's unproven. you've got past producing mines to the south and past producing mines to the north. We sit slap bang in the middle. And this trend, it could extend 40 kilometres within our area on closing with White Cliffs. And I think that the best thing for the business is to get out there, and we'll be auger drilling along the trend in the soils to see if we can find any gold in the soils in the new areas, in the new zones. And that would start to build our confidence that what we're seeing and what we think might be there could well be there. And again, that would be a hugely significant development for the company. We know everything about the Eastern Goldfields. We know there's a lack of ore, and there's oversupply of production facilities out there. And we also know that we've got mineralization on Comet Well. We know it hasn't been drilled, but we know there's this potential for this trend to continue. If we can start proving that up as a business, then that again becomes another potential game changer. And that's why I've pulled the trigger now, so that we can really get into these assets and really start to move them forward. And trust me, if anything of those described actions produce positive results, the industry will be sitting up and really taking note, Mark.
Great. Okay. And so you've spelled out pretty clearly there where this money is going to be spent, which is always nice to know that from a private investor point of view. But just one final question: what about the amount that you've raised, Darren? 300,000. Would you have liked more, ideally?
No, absolutely not. No, it's so. I will always, whilst these processes are going on, I'll always go back and ask the people directly involved, what were the conversations, what were the potential criticisms, what are the concerns out there amongst the investing network, because it's really important that you understand that and you can make judgment calls around that, and every business should do that as part of the course. And the only comment I got back was that the constant theme was that the people felt we wasn't raising enough, and I'm very happy with that, because to be honest, Mark, as we've already discussed, I'm not particularly pleased at raising a 10, despite the fact it's significantly higher than where we're at. I think the business has moved on considerably further than that represents. However, I also have got to, as a CEO and as a business leader, I've got to recognise that the market will set the price, and the market has, and I've got to make sure that money is allocated in a way that can prove the market isn't always correct in its assumptions of where we're at any one moment. And as a result, I took that. I stated in an interview a week or so ago that, I turned down the biggest single raise that would ever happen into this business a couple of weeks ago, because I don't want that money at that kind of level, because we've got to sweat these assets, and we've got to lift our levels all the time as a business. And that's exactly what I've set out to do. And that's exactly what I'm looking to achieve. And we've got a great team, and the understanding of the industry, the networks in the industry are second to none. And as a result, I think we've done something here that just makes absolute perfect sense on almost every level on a corporate basis. Okay.
Well, Darren Hazelwood, the CEO of Panther Metals, thank you very much for joining us.
That's a pleasure, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.